Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. If you're a regular listener, thank you very much for joining us again. And if you're a new listener, thank you. You're very welcome. I'm your host, Mike, and with me today we have Gabriel and Mark. Don't forget, we love to hear from you. We love you joining the conversations. Stay connected. Share your thoughts on every episode. Chat with other fans. Let me know what you'd like to hear in the future. Catch up on social medias at Sutton Podcast on all of them, really. The likes, the shares, the retweets, and the thumbs up. I like them. They really do help, and thanks to everyone who does it on a regular basis. So when I planned all this, first of all, we're going to start with Gabriel. A little apology because he was supposed to be on Wednesday, but I was doing look at these delicate hands. I was doing manual labour. I hurt my back, so I couldn't do it properly. So he happily deferred to today. So we're doing a bit of a double episode. But how are you, Gabriel?
Good. Finally having a good run. So it's I feel optimistic now.
Excellent. Yeah. I mean, it did also put to pay all the conversations that I cancel when we lose games, because I'm like, well, I can't because we've done lots of podcasts and we've lost lots of games. But also, Mark, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. I've finally shaken off the cold that was dogging me for about 3 weeks. So much relief there.
Yeah, and it's a rare home game for you. You're usually one of my away correspondents.
Yeah. We've got a few of those coming up, of course, but I don't think I'm down to do any of them.
Some nice long ones in the next few weeks. Don't forget, there is the Chris and Phil talk show this week. It's on Tuesday, so if you haven't booked your ticket, it's free event for season ticket holders, but they want to know who's coming so they can manage bar staff, I should imagine. So just book that. And the ladies' team today were against Newhaven, and they were at home but at Cobham, so they were away at home. They were 1-0 up quite early on, but ended in a draw. So 1-1 draw for the ladies' team. So that's another good result for them. So firstly, let's start with the Woking match. Going into it with a little kind of almost trepidation. Just before kickoff, we had the wonderful news that Jack had injured his back. So Chris Hay was there. David was on the bench, and I can't remember if it was told or not, but David had actually had a knee injury or something. I think there was some injury he had as well, but he kind of had to play. But we'll start with you, Mark. Going into that game, what was your hopes and expectations, and were there, apart from Jack, was there any surprises in the lineup for you?
I don't think there are any major surprises. Obviously, I was hoping we'd win. Little bit of trepidation given that some of the recent results and performances have been disappointing. But I thought we had a decent chance. I thought Woking were pretty average sort of side, and I thought if we could raise our game as we did, we could beat them.
And Gabriel, what was your thoughts heading into the game? Were there any expectations from you? Was there any shocks to the lineup?
I was hoping for the best, but I was afraid of another draw. And I would have expected maybe after the game against Braintree, I would have expected Harris and Ogbonna to start.
Yeah. I mean, we knew Charlie Bell wasn't going to start after his ninja kick. He denies all accusations that he was just trying to get sent off to avoid a trip to Hartlepool on Valentine's Day. He absolutely flatly denied that. But we started very quickly, Gabriel. We was it 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Jennings,
It's not even the first time that we scored in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And the history again was not a positive one. We had a draw 1-1, almost similar with this one. After 20 minutes, they scored for 1-1 from a pass from our goalkeeper, I think.
Yep. We'll come to that. But did you see our opening goal, or were you still on duty?
No, I've seen it.
Excellent. And what were you feeling at 1-0? Were you like sitting there going, "Oh God, that's a long time to defend," or were you a little bit positive?
Of course, starting with 1-0, it's a positive development. I started to be negative after what happened later.
Well, Mark, I certainly was thinking, "Oh, that's a long time to go." How were you feeling at 1-0 when Kai scoring that goal?
Well, I'm just going ahead. It doesn't matter what stage of the game it is, particularly. Always gives you a lift, doesn't it? And it was a very well worked goal. So I thought we started on the front foot. That's very encouraging. A long way to go, but you can't help but feel positive after taking an early lead in such a manner.
And then Chris Hay decided that he would get the disease of just passing it to an opposition player, thinking they didn't have as many shots, they weren't doing very well, so he thought we'd give them a little bit of a boost. How were you feeling? Because there was quite a bit of play around the back at the time, and we were very successful. We were very with it. Were you expecting the worst when we started doing that, or did you think, "Oh, we finally cracked this"? Mark.
Well, it was a question of here we go again. We're being pressed, and short passes out from the back are not very clever if the opposition's pressing you effectively. So that goal was a bit of a blow, and I think at that point a lot of us who've been feeling quite positive started to fear the worst and thinking, well, maybe the best we're going to get from this game is another point, which is less than what we needed. Yeah.
And Gabriel, I know you're keen to talk about this one because you mentioned it a couple of times. How did you feel about the goal that we conceded?
I feel that because at the beginning when Chris came as a coach, it worked just fine, and it created us the opportunity to attract the opposition in our field and to go and maybe even score some goals from this build up from the keeper. But after the Shrewsbury game that was live on BBC, everybody knows that we have this vulnerability, and they are trying to get it. On the other hand, this was more a mistake from the keeper rather than a mistake from the build-up style. Mm-hmm. He gave it away, basically.
Yeah, it's a terrible pass. So we're 1-1, but then Brandon jumped in, and he then scored to restore our lead. How were you at that point, Gabriel? I know it changed shortly afterwards, but how are you at the point where we've restored our 2-1 lead?
We have seen. I'm still remembering the Braintree Town game, and we have seen the offensive force of Njoku, of Harris, of Simper, Ogbonna. So we can score goals. That's it was proven. Now we know because of what happened yesterday. The defense is the one that has to hold better in some games.
We'll come to that. Come to holding better. Mark, how were you feeling at 2-1? Were you?
Well, it's a question of mood swings again. You're up, you're down, you're up again. Football's often like that. And having started to fear the worst after their equaliser, suddenly we were all buoyant again. Another goal, we were 2-1 up. So it was back in a positive mood.
And that lasted for not very long because, I thought I came up with a great joke of his debut, but no one else found that funny. But anyway, it wasn't. it wasn't the best debut. Giving away a goal, almost. Well, not almost, definitely giving away a goal, and then a decision to take down their striker. We're saying I was offside anyway, but I'm not massively sure that would have made a difference. But I think Junior was playing him on. But Mark, this was about 30 minutes or so, even earlier than Charlie's one. So Charlie's one,
I think it was 32.
We had to play
10
men, and this time we were playing an hour. But how were you feeling at the red card? Were you like,
well, I mean, the mood on the Gander Green Lane Terrace, was pretty grim at that point. I mean, quite a few of our well-known supporters were saying, oh, we've done it again. Another red card. God, we're committing curry. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. All the cliches were coming out. And the mood turned very gloomy at that point. Incidentally, that was Chris Haig's league debut for us, but he had played for us previously in the Surrey Senior Cup, of course, against Hawley. Didn't have a great deal to do. I think he saved one free kick, did quite well with that. Apart from that, he was largely untroubled against combined counties league opposition. Obviously, different sort of standard of opposition on Tuesday last. But when you've got to play well over half the game with 10 men, you do fear the worst. But crucially, we did have the lead at that point, which absolutely. I think did the team had something to hang on to, something to defend, and I think that probably was a factor in the performance of the Sutton team from that point onwards.
Gabriel, what did you think of when we had the red card? Did you think of the running out and taking out their striker?
Well, the first thought was about the statistics. How many times did this happen? I didn't read. I know you put the statistics on the group. I didn't read it, but I know we are leading the National League on this matter.
Yeah. Top of the league.
Yeah. And a lot of them happened recently in the past couple of months.
Yeah.
So this is a major issue, and it should be addressed, of course, by the management of the team.
With the specific of the game, though, we're 2-1 up. We've just been reduced to 10 men with an hour to go. Were you confident we could hold on, or were you again fearing the worst?
You cannot know. We have played a great half an hour in 10 men against Braintree. Really great. It was much better than the 1 hour before with 11 men on the field, but playing for 70 minutes, including the extension time, with 1 man down, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. But we did. Everyone raised their game. It's difficult. I know people do try to pick out certain things, but I mean, you've had Simper rattle the crossbar, so we had chances. And one of the players I want to talk about, Jermaine Francis. I was told, and I've desperately searched for the message, and I cannot find where someone told me. But someone told me, good luck with him. He's a lazy player. Which after Tuesday night, I've been thinking, Christ, imagine if he put some effort in then, because he didn't feel like we're down to 10 men with him in the side. I mean, how did you rate the performance of the 10 men, Gabriel?
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. We created chances with a little bit of inspiration and maybe a little bit of altruism. We would have scored at least another goal. There's about a couple of chances in which our striker doesn't pass to the man that is free in a great position. Yeah. So yeah, it was at times heroic.
Yeah, they definitely felt like they were defending for their lives. I mean, Mark, what stood out for you? Obviously, for me, Jermaine running up and down and all over the place. But what stood out for you?
Yeah, I mean, much the same. I mean, after the sending off, I mean, the rest of the first half was a bit of a non-event. I don't recall either side having any serious chances in the remainder of the first half. But it was in the second half, pretty much from the word go, that we really raised our game and started to, attack with pace, counter-attack with pace. Woking obviously had a lot of the ball because they had the extra man, but they didn't do a huge amount with it. Whereas when we got the ball, we were just like, terriers. And that Jermaine Francis certainly caught the eye. I think all his teammates were contributing to that performance. Kai Jennings, Lewis Simper, Hayden Muller, and all the others are all part of that. Counter-attacking initiative that we had to adopt in that second half, and we had the better chances. We probably should have scored at least one more goal. Whereas Woking, I think, had very, very few presentable chances with the man advantage.
Yes, and this is some news that kind of came to light yesterday. Well, for the management and the squad, it came to light on Wednesday, Thursday, but people were told about it yesterday. It was announced sort of in the hospitality, so I don't know how widely everyone knows this, but apparently Big Dave, who was in goal, has terrible eyesight, and should be wearing his contact lenses or prescription goggles that he's got, and he just doesn't wear them, and his eyesight is worse at night. And he kept saying, "Oh, it's not that bad," but he brought them in, and all the lads apparently started looking through them. Basically, he's blind. So on the one hand, it's like that's a worry and we've got a keeper who can't really see. But as Aggie said, Dave's never been on the losing side for him. I know he has previously for us. But now we've got a solution, and a 6 foot whatever goalkeeper who can now see. We could have the best goalkeeper in the world on our hands. He's done well without it. But yeah, so we win the game. How were you? Did you think that was a one-off, a bit of a derby boost, Mark? Did you think, okay, that's that game aside? Did you take any confidence coming in to Saturday against Wealdstone?
Oh, certainly took confidence. If we can play like that with 10 men and we can adopt a similar approach with 11 men, we must have a great chance of winning against Wealdstone. I think most of the Sutton faithful felt much the same. It was a really positive experience seeing those 10 men win the game, hold on to the lead against a decent working side. And when they probably weren't at their best, to be fair, on Tuesday. But even so, they're not a bad side. They've got some good players, including some ex-Sutton players, of course. And they barely laid a glove on us in the second half.
No, absolutely. And against a 10 men and potentially a blind goalkeeper, we did really, really well. Gabriel, what were your thoughts heading into this game? Did you have the confidence that we were going to do well?
I did have the confidence, but it was a must-win also, because the pressure is pretty big. 3 points advantage is not enough to feel comfortable, especially that I think we are left with 6 games at home and 9 away, or something like that. So it's at least two more games away than at home. So, and the positive results came mostly at home lately.
Yeah. One jokey thing I said was maybe we need to start with 10 men as a tactic, because we seem to be playing so well. And then on 15 minutes, Junior did a challenge that I have to admit I was a little bit worried at the time, thinking I was joking. What did you make of that early challenge, Gabriel, from Junior to 13, 14 minutes, I think it was?
I feel that the referees have changed in the past couple of years. I remember, do you remember the first win we had in the AFL against Stevenage? When Bennett scored, we were down 0-1, I think, and Bennett scored by pushing by 2 hands so visibly the opponent and making space for him, and it was allowed, and I feel that it was allowed much more 3-4 years ago than it is allowed now. Even the challenge of Charlie Bell would have probably
no.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of the time of Vinnie Jones then.
Yeah, even further back, Graham Souness. What about yourself, Mark? Were you nervous when there was I mean, Wealdstone were jumping up at the referee and making lots of noise, as every team does now. Were you a little bit concerned?
Yeah, I mean, from where I was, it looked like just a badly timed challenge, and I thought it ought to be a yellow card, but you never know with the refs these days, and there was a slight worry that it might be a red card. I mean, obviously, a lot of the Wealdstone fans were chanting for a red, but I spoke to a Wealdstone supporter after the game. He was quite close to the incident. In his view, the yellow card was the correct decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're always going to call for a red as a fan. No matter what. First half, I mean, it was bits and pieces, but nothing really dramatic. I don't think I was uncomfortable at any point. I think, as I said, it was a sort of back and forth, but nothing really dramatic. Mark, did you feel uncomfortable at any point in that first half?
The only uncomfortable moment was right at the end of the half when their guy tried to chip Jack Sims, and he managed to claw the ball out of the air. It was more or less directly above the line, I think.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to hold it. He dropped it. Luckily, Edom Pruti was on hand to boot it out for a corner, which came to nothing. That was a nervous moment. But apart from that, I thought we pretty much controlled the game. I thought we were the better side without really kind of dominating the play. I think the best save that the Wealdstone keeper made in the first half was from one of his own players. And then I think there was a follow-up shot that was cleared off the line, but that was about the closest we came. I think it followed a free kick in the first half to scoring. I think Kai Jennings had a shot that was more or less straight at the keeper. Lewis Simper headed a chance over. There was a lovely ball from Donkor across that nobody got on the end of and whizzed out, I think, for either a goal kick or a throw-in for Wealdstone. But we were the better side, but there's always a slight worry that, if you're the better side in 45 minutes, you haven't got the lead, that things could turn against you in the second half. Luckily, that didn't happen to us, but there was that slight concern that we didn't quite impose ourselves on the game in the way that perhaps we could have done.
Yeah, I was actually in line with that save from Jack, and can't believe I actually forgot it, because it was a great save, because I was walking around at that point. So yeah, awful memory. Gabriel, what about yourself? How did you feel in that first half for the Wealdstone game? Were you fairly comfortable? Were you fairly confident at that point?
Yeah, we looked good even in the first half without scoring. We had a couple of good chances. We created a little bit of combinations that put the opposition on the wrong foot. So the team starts to look better. So that the confidence starts to come back, because I remember we had a very good moment in November with 4 wins in the league, I think, and 1 in the FA Cup. And then it came that last-minute goal from Shrewsbury, and everything fell apart. I didn't understand what happened.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of momentum and adrenaline, and it just kept them going and going and going. And once that bubble burst, it was difficult to get that back. I don't know why. I'm not an expert on these things, but I put it down to, like, when you're at working and you're working and working and working, as soon as you get a chance to rest, you suddenly feel absolutely knackered, even though you were fine. I mean, was it 8-9 minutes into the second half? Well, by 12 minutes into the second half, we were 2-0 up. Gabriel, how were you feeling at this point when the 2 goals went in? We had Hayden scoring and Simp scoring.
Yeah, it was a great start. I think it's less than 12 minutes. I think in the 53rd minute it was already 2-0.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, I can see that now. But how? I mean, Hayden's goal. What made me laugh is his mum and dad are at most matches. His mum's pretty much at every match, and neither of them were there yesterday, so that was quite amusing. He found that quite funny as well. So maybe they won't come as often. But how are you kind of feeling at the two goals? I mean, Simp's goal again, a great shot, great goal. What were you thinking at that point?
Yeah, I think we didn't have many goals lately from our CBs. We used to have a lot in the good times of the first year in the AFL, for example. It's great to have the goals from the defenders. And Simper, it's definitely my favorite player in the team, and it's easy to be like this. I was so impressed with his attitude in the game against Braintree when we were one man down. We were desperate to equalize, and he was asking for all the balls. He was trying to create. He was trying to push his teammates. He's absolutely a great player.
Yeah, and he's one of the first to sort of turn to the ground to try and pump everyone up as well.
Yeah.
Which is quite infectious. Mark, how were you sort of feeling at the 2 goals, and what was your pick of those?
Yeah, I mean, once you've got a two goal cushion, you feel a lot more comfortable. Obviously, with a 1-0 lead, there's always a chance that there's some disaster at the back and they equalise. And with that, we'd experienced that lately. But once we went 2-0 up, I felt fairly confident we'd go on to claim 3 points. I thought Wealdstone maybe would get 1 back, but I didn't think they'd get 2. I was really pleased for Hayden Muller, who incidentally was playing as a defensive midfielder, not a centre back.
He was. Yeah.
We seem to be playing a 4-2-2-2 formation now, which seems to be quite effective. We look rather more solid than perhaps we were earlier in the season. I think we talked about the Shrewsbury game and that late equaliser that they got, and then they went on to win. I think it took us almost 2 months to recover from that. We did seem to go into a bit of a slump, bit of a shell. Obviously, we had all the injuries and suspensions as well over the kind of festive period, which didn't help. But I think Simper and Jennings both had kind of dips in form during that period. But in the last couple of games, they seem to be back to their best or something very close to their best, which is great news because when they're on song, they're terrific players. And lovely free kick from Sims for Hayden's debut goal for Sutton, and a cracking second goal, where rather than trying to hit it into the roof of the net as he's tried a few times lately, it ended up hitting the bar. He tried a low shot and it just rocketed into the far corner. Terrific strike.
Yeah, and then I mean, one thing you mentioned with the 4-4-2 there, Junior seems to have been moved inside.
Junior playing as a centre back alongside Eden Pruti, I think.
Yeah,
and Donkor and Topolarge are the fullbacks, but they've got license to get forward because if you play with that formation, you've not got much natural width. Like Bonner, for example, isn't starting now. He used to give us a lot of attacking flair down the wing, but I noticed that both the fullbacks were getting forward when they could and getting the occasional ball into the box. So the 2 fullbacks were providing the width, and that formation seems to be working well. Let's hope it continues.
Yeah. You mentioned Bez there. He ended up on the chair to do strike as a key. Poor boy was absolutely mortified. He really did not look comfortable at all. He's standing there in the blue jacket. So I think he had to pull the ball out, and then whoever it was wasn't there, so he had to do the key as well. Poor man. Yeah. And Chris Hay also ended up doing it, and somebody started off chance of off, which wasn't.
Was he wearing a dunce's hat when he did that?
No, he wasn't. I was told by Jack Sims that wasn't very nice. Okay. The last goal. I have a theory that David has a higher assist bonus than he does a goal bonus, because you hit the crossbar for Kai to then head it in. I mean, that was just the icing on the cake, wasn't it, Mark? 2-0 was comfortable. Yeah, I mean 3-0 perfect.
David came on for the last, 10 minutes or so, and I think he was playing in a more central position than he's used to. But obviously, he's got that pace and he's got the finishing ability. Didn't quite get the finish right, but it wasn't the easiest of chances. He struck the bar, and it was the second goal of the day with a stooping header. Jennings had to sort of stoop a bit, but made a nice connection. He did more or less an open goal, so the keeper was a bit off his line at that point. And that was, as you say, the icing on the cake. And once we went 3-0 up, there was no coming back. Incidentally, there was you might not have seen it yet, but there was a message on the podcast group. Wealdstone just sacked Sam Cox. I think that's one win in 13 league games now for them. So not a huge surprise, but
No.
the Wealdstone manager has lost his job following that result yesterday.
Yeah, I think someone needs to go back and have a little look at all the different managers over the years that have lost or been fired after losing to Sutton, because I'm sure it's happened quite a lot.
There's been a few, yeah.
Yeah. Gabriel, how were you feeling at Dave's crossbar assist?
No, and certainly he didn't try to make an assist.
Oh, no, he meant it.
But I'm happy for Jennings, which is another player that I like a lot. Unfortunately, he's only on loan. So I don't know. It's probably a tough job to get into a League One team, but he looks like a very talented player. And
his manager's been very good. There was a lot of pressure, I believe, to call him back in January, or I think we extended in January. I can't remember the exact details, but I think John Jackson was under a lot of pressure, and he said, "Look, he's at Sutton, he's playing, and that's what he needs to be doing. You don't want to bring him into a struggling side and lose this confidence." So I would imagine he would get called back next season. But you can but ask.
Yeah, in Wimbledon, it's an interesting team. They looked at the beginning that they're in the way for a playoff fight, and then they looked that they're going to get in the relegation fight. Now they seem to have gotten into mid-table misery, which is fine for their level.
Yeah, could be happy with that. But Gabriel, clean sheet. We've already said that Wealdstone created some, but no real sustained pressure. Was this the Sutton performance that we have been looking for all the way? Nice clean sheet, no major mistakes, goal threats. Is this the kind of performance we're going to expect from now on? Is this the bar?
Definitely, yeah. I feel that there is a lot of talent in this team, and we can perform at this level. But we need the confidence that is here now, and we need some good performances away as well.
Yeah. What about yourself, Mark? How you feel the goals are better or the clean sheet is better? What's your thought?
Well, it's always good to get clean sheet. I mean, early in the season, we were scoring a lot of goals, but conceding even more. Then since about Christmas, we've been scoring far fewer, but conceding fewer. There's been a lot of kind of 1-0s, 1-alls. But now we seem to be finding a net a bit more. So that's obviously encouraging. I think it's probably worth pointing out that Wealdstone weren't a great side yesterday. I mean, a lot of the sides we're still due to face will be better than Wealdstone's stronger opposition. And of course, a lot of those games are away from home as well. So there's still some tough challenges ahead. We're by no means home and dry yet, and we need to get some more wins. And even come on to talk about the next game against Yeovil. But that's a game I think we should be looking to win as well.
Yeah, there was just one more specifically on the Wealdstone game, but I think it was a bit on the Woking as well. The crowd. There was a really good atmosphere yesterday, and they kind of really did help to lift the intensity. Did you feel that? Because obviously we're sort of more used to well done and fairly quiet, sedate atmosphere at Gander Green Lane. But did you sort of feel the intensity of especially the young ones behind the goal?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a derby atmosphere against both Woking and Wealdstone. You don't get quite that same sense when we're playing, Brackley or Braintree, and the crowds were quite big again in both those games. About 2,500, I think, in each of them, above average. So that obviously makes for a somewhat better atmosphere. But I think that win against Woking, against the odds, as it seemed, has improved the vibe, the mood around the ground, and I think that was reflected in the atmosphere at yesterday's game.
Yeah, and Gabriel, what did you think of the crowd?
I think the crowd is ready to to be there, to be enthusiastic. It just needs to have some victories and not disappointments, as it happened for so much time in the past 2 or even 3 years, actually.
Yeah, I mean it's a big question. It kind of comes up again and again. Is it the job of the crowd to get the players going, or the players to get the crowd going? And it's like
Yeah,
play off each other.
it's both. It's very hard to get over as a fan. Okay, you have the hardcore fans that go to away games, that are used to even worse times and so on, but they're trying to attract new fans. They are giving away tickets to schools. They're trying to attract new people, and for them, if you don't see a victory, it's different. You need to go home happy that you had a victory, and you.
Yeah, I mean, saying that, it was actually yesterday I saw one of the youngsters that had been kind of given free tickets when we were in the EFL, and he's much more grown up now. I don't know how old he is now, but he's obviously a few years old, and he's still coming on his own with his friends. And so we've got this core of youngsters who enjoy coming for just coming. They obviously haven't seen title runs or charges. They've seen lots of losses. But yeah, the enthusiasm will go eventually if they can't see some wins. Now, we've won a few games now again at Green Lane. Gabriel, what do we need to do to turn that into wins away from home? Do we need to tighten up that defence and just be really, really stingy, or should we go for that attacking early starts?
Yeah, this is a good question. What you need to have them both. It says defense wins you races, both in for the title or in relegation battles. So it is very important to be organized. This was the big team from 40 years ago. It was best at being very organized and being very hard to score against at a better level in the League Two. Also, we have a lot of quality in the offense, and we have to put this to work for us. There's such good players that there were some beautiful moments. The goal against Braintree, I'm still stuck with the Braintree game, because if we would have lost that, we would have been probably in all that happened after wouldn't have happened. On the other hand, we scored in a 90+4, and then we got 3 great chances to make it 2-1, and we leave the stadium frustrated that it wasn't 2-1.
Yeah,
for us.
Brandon slipping is always going to live in my memory.
Yeah.
Poor man. It's just his legs couldn't keep up with what the rest of his body was doing. What about yourself, Mark? Where do you sit? Do you feel like we need to concentrate on defence or that balanced approach?
I think it depends on the game. I mean, Yeovil, who are our next opponents, obviously away, they're not in great form at the moment. I think they're second bottom of the form table, above Wealdstone, as it happens. They lost yesterday. I think they've lost the last 2. So I think we need to take the game to them. I think we need to be on the front foot against them. It's Wednesday, so we've got an extra day's recovery. It's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday. So a decent amount of recovery time. But then we've got another 2 games within a space of 7 days. So then there'll probably need to be some squad rotation. And at least one of those other 2 away games, Halifax and Hartlepool, perhaps Hartlepool more than Halifax. I think we need to be more defensive. I mean, if you come away from Hartlepool with a point, I think we'll be quite satisfied. The Halifax game is somewhere between the 2. Halifax are like Hartlepool on the kind of edge of the playoffs, just outside the playoffs. But their recent form's not been great. I mean, they lost to Gateshead in the week, and they got thumped at York. That's not a surprise, but they've lost their last 2. So maybe we could get a good result up there. But it's a case of, I think, looking at each game as separate from the others, rather than trying to have a common approach to all 3.
Yeah, I mean, we've just gone above Yeovil. I mean, I think they were above us on Saturday, and we've gone above them.
Yeah.
Madly, I've just looked at the table, and if everything went our way on Wednesday or Wednesday, we could be up to something like 14th, 15th.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier. Yeah,
which is
yeah,
insane, really. But one thing that we mentioned earlier, but dive a bit more into, is the discipline and the composure. Now, love joking around and everything, but Lewis got booked yesterday, and he said to me that's his 9th of the season. And we are, as was said, we are kind of top of this disciplinary league, or bottom of that disciplinary league. I don't know how they word it. Are you happy with the edge? Do you think the yellow cards have been fair? Do you think referees might go, oh, look, Sutton are the dirtiest team, and they pull out their cards a bit quicker than they would for other teams?
Yeah, I mean, refs do talk to each other, and I think if a team has got a large number of cards, yellow, red, both, during the season, that is known, and it's possible that it does subconsciously affect refs. There may be some unconscious bias going on. I mean, we talked about the yellow card for the junior yesterday, but in I think it was the previous game, there was quite a nasty off-the-ball foul on Lewis Simper, which some people felt should have been a red card, and the guy was just shown a yellow. So, you know, I think it's possible that there is a little bit of a sense that we pick up cards more easily than some other sides. I mean, Lewis got booked for diving. I mean, it looked to me like a foul, but the referee was better positioned than I was, and he knows the laws of the game better than I do. So I'm not necessarily saying he got the call wrong there. But, you know, if Lewis knows he's armed, it would have been 8 yellow cards at that point. You know, why would he dive and risk getting a 9th yellow, which obviously is what happened. I mean, Chris has talked about that edge. He talked about it in relation to Charlie Bell, saying, you know, he wants his players to have that edge, to have that aggressive bite. And if that means from time to time one of them gets the yellow or even a red card, he accepts that because it's part of the way they play. And he'd rather that they went in a kind of full-blooded way rather than back off and chicken out of challenges. Yeah. So, you know, it's a question of just getting the kind of balance right. You don't want to go too far. I think most of the red cards we've had, if not all of them, haven't been for kind of malicious challenges. They've just been overzealous or badly timed challenges. I don't think we're a particularly dirty side, but you know, you can't ignore the fact that we have got a record number of cards this season, and I think it was similar last season as well.
Yeah, I mean, Gabriel, I don't know about you, but I think we get an awful lot of cards for non-aggressive tackles, for other things. I mean, what's your take on the disciplinary side of it?
Yeah, I also feel that sometimes the referees have been quite harsh on us and not that harsh on the opposition. So I cannot say they have an agenda against us or something like that, but when you get this reputation that you are the team that takes easy red cards, maybe they are tempted to give red cards.
Yeah. I mean, I think someone pointed out yesterday, even if we didn't get another yellow card for the rest of the season, we're probably going to end up top or bottom of that table, whatever your viewpoint is. But let's briefly talk about Yeovil. Gabriel, what's your thoughts on what we need to do to win the game and an early prediction for how that game's going to go?
To want it as much as we wanted in the last few games, the last 3 games, and to have also a bit of luck, you know, that's very important.
What about prediction?
Prediction, that's tough. Maybe we get another win. Yeah, maybe we win 2-1.
Okay. And Mark, what do you think we need to do at Yeovil to get that
I think we just need to try and replicate what we did on yesterday's game. I think Yeovil, without wishing to sink too deeply into cliche territory, are kind of there for the taking. And I think if we adopt the same attitude that we did against Woking and Wealdstone, then we've got a very good chance. Incidentally, if Yeovil do win on Wednesday, they'll do the double over us. I missed the game at our place back in, it was the end of September. I think I was up in Shetland, but I gather, we lost 2-1, but Yeovil weren't clearly the better side. I think they got a penalty that won the game for them. So yeah, I think we need to go for it against Yeovil. I should be down there. I don't know how many of us will be there, but I've booked a hotel down there for the night. So I shall be in the crowd or the maybe thinly populated away section on a Wednesday night and cheering the boys on.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with a scrappy 1-0 win because
I'm going to go for 2-1. Yeah,
2-1 as well. Yeah, I'm going to go 1-0.
Yeah.
I think that we're just going to try and keep it tight, and then late on, and I'm going to say Nadders is going to come on and score late on, and for a long goal kick, and he's going to run through from midfield. Very quickly before we finish up, how are you feeling about I know Chris Hay it was a short pass, but how are you feeling in general about the more mixing it up the last few games, Mark? With you on there.
Yeah, I mean, there seemed to be a lot less sort of passing around at the back in yesterday's game, and I think most of us felt that was a positive development, despite Chris's attempt to defend that way of playing in an earlier interview. So yeah, getting the ball forward, seemed to work well. I mean, it wasn't just long balls forward; it was playing the ball out to the wings and players running with it into the opposition half. I mean, we did lose the ball a few times, that was noted, but yeah, generally we were on the front foot and getting the ball into their half quickly, and that seemed to help us.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely more mixed. I know they were doing short, but that just keeps the opposition on their toes a little bit. If you're always going to go short or always going to go long, they can plan for that. And what about yourself, Gabriel? Did you notice it? Did you feel that they were mixing up more, or?
And I feel it's a good thing. We should balance. Of course, it's modern football. You want to build up from the keeper, but you should balance it and try to not give away easy goals, which take the team down. I seem to remember that Leicester, with not last year but 3 years ago, basically committed suicide by passing, trying to build up from the keeper and losing a lot of balls and being scored a lot from this situation. So you have to mix. You have to balance.
Yeah, if nothing else, just to not make it easy for the opposition to know what we're going to do. Because I can't remember who it was. When John Meany was with us, he said, watch it at York. All they do is a really short goal kick, and we know to press them. We know straight away, get the strikers onto them. So if you're doing it all the time, people work it out very quickly. Same as when we were in the EFL on the mat, everyone knew we were going to make what substitutes we were going to make at what time. So we've got to mix it up. But thank you very much, gents. We're going to wrap up this episode of Sutton Podcast. As always, we appreciate your attention and feedback. Follow, like, share, do all the normal things at Sutton Podcast on all socials. Like, subscribe, thumbs up on YouTube. A big thank you to our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin. Very big thank you to my guests. And we've got Mark and Gabriel. And thanks to you for listening as well. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Sutton Podcast. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. United! 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 United!